Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Quarterback Dentist podcast episode. And we have a great topic today. And we have one of the best persons to talk about this. Is one of the top 5 guys that I know with the big amount of knowledge about intraoral scanners. And the reason is because he's a clinician. Also, he's in the education field, but also owns a lab. And he used many intraoral scanners. He have more than, I don't know, than 20 intraoral scanners there. So he tried. So everything that he's going to say is focus in the reality, in the struggles, in the learning curve, and it's exactly as dentists, as a clinicians, as intraoral scanner users, we want to hear. So the topic is going to be, what intraoral scanner should I buy? And we're going to focus more in what are the questions that you need to make, what are the top scanners, the why, and what is important. And for this, we have our dear guest, Ahmad Al-Hassiny. Thank you, Ahmad, for being here to discuss. And I'm sure that is one of your favorite topics. And you have a lot to share with us. And it's something that you have been doing in your IDD website, talking a lot about this. So let's try to summarize in this episode everything that a dentist should know if they want to invest in intraoral scanner. So Ahmad, thank you one more time for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Luken. It's great to be here with you.
So let's go and jump straight into the topic. Every time that people mention about scanners or the reps, they come with the scanner, the first things that they mention is the size and the speed. So we talk about this also with the 3D printers because it's like the main highlight that they mention. And I want to hear from your side. It's really important, the size and the speed. I'm talking about scanners.
Something else is. Now, okay, size and speed. What I would say, Luken, is this argument should be left behind in 2016 because really, I don't think speed is relevant anymore in modern intraoral scanners, frankly. Not at all. Because I literally have used every single scanner and they are all fast now. This discussion about speed is ancient discussion. It's seriously, they're all within, I would say, 10 to 20 seconds of each other for a full art scan. So this idea that some scanners are faster than the other was something I haven't mentioned since 2016. The size, this is more important because some scanners, the older generations, are really stupid big, like half a kg and these things. Basically, every modern scanner now is very small. 250 grams, 300 grams, some 120 grams. So I think the size and the speed discussion is not relevant. I think a more important discussion is workflow, software, AI filtering of soft tissue. And another really key part that I find true differentiation between scanners is soft tissue scanning. Because these days, every scanner can scan dentate very well. But with soft tissue, they vary quite a lot.
Definitely. And you are all around giving lectures and in different trade shows. As we mentioned, we met in IDS 2 years ago. We get together this year. And what are those myths that you hear about scanners that people, when you are there, are talking, you say like, guys, it's like the speed and the size. What else are those type of myths that when you're listening, like, guys, you have no clue what you're saying?
Yeah, look, you still hear occasionally that scanners are not as accurate as impressions. I think a lot less, but still you hear it. This is total nonsense, guys. And don't listen to me. Even the literature proves this. The literature shows that scanners now are more accurate than impression material. Guaranteed. I know with margin lines and infinity edges, there's some deviations, and maybe impression is really good for some guys who like to do a lot of veneers. But on average, a scanner is more accurate, less issues, less errors, There's no pouring models, all these crazy things. So that's one thing I hear. The other thing that's more common I hear is that a scanner can't scan edentulous, which again is not true. A scanner can't be used for dentures. It is not true. I use a scanner for every single indication in my practice. We have a big practice. We own and operate 41 chairs. I personally do implants, dentures, veneers, cosmetics, single crown. I do everything in my practice. And the only times that I need to take an impression is when I want to take a mucostatic impression for a denture. And even then, if you want to be crafty, you can scan a dentulous very easily, make a temporary denture printed, and then do your try-in and your pickup impression if you wanted to make the workflow fast. But the reality is, there's very few reasons I take an impression in my practice anymore. So this idea that scanners don't work, or they can't work for deep margins, or they don't work in certain indications, is all down to operator error.
Yes, I definitely is more related to the operator, the knowledge, than the device. And as you said, the articles are saying that the intraoral scanner is as precise as an analog impression, but they are comparing with the gold standard of the perfect, ideal, unbelievable analog impression that happens once in life when you take that impression that is 100% perfect. So all the research, the papers are comparing intraoral scanner with that. So if they're saying that is exactly the same as the highest levels on the analog way, that means that definitely analog disappear 100% of the practice. We need to focus, and we need to understand that now the way is digital, and not only because the accuracy that we know that are the same if we follow those articles, but all the extra benefits that are there, that I think are the topics that people are not talking too much about it. All that extra thing that you can do with a scanner, because usually users are trying or putting in practice or taking advantage of the scanner just to replace the analog impressions. So you have a patient, do a veneer, you prep, they're in a corner, you grab it, you scan and put it there and send, and you repeat. When there's like, I don't know, it's like a 10% of the complete power of these machines. So on the myth, I 100% agree with you, and I still listen on that. The soft tissue, and it's not copying very well, and the margins. And when we go to the courses and we demonstrate the things, and we just realize, we prove that it's more about how to learn or how to manage your device, because there's not too much education about that. The company just give you the device, they give you a protocol that works very well in your hand with a model, but then when you go to your patient with the saliva, with the reality, then you start to struggle, and this is why you start to get a little more skeptical about this. So let's go to the next part. That is, I want to hear more from your side, since you have too many devices. I think you are one of the guys that I know that have more scanner in their hands that they can really, I know, like support what you are saying. It's not that you are repeating something that someone said. It's because you try it, you know it. And if you're buying your first scanner, what are those key aspects? And what are those marketing fluff that is like, this is what they are mentioning, but this is the reality? What are those key aspects that you need to analyze? What do you need to ask to yourself? What do you need to ask to the companies?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Luken. I mean, one marketing fluff I see a lot is these accuracy claims by companies. And the reality is we don't have any independent way to verify any of this. So a new scanner comes, you open the brochure, 10 microns of accuracy. Look, I will say from my own testing, because I literally have tested every single scan, and I publish a lot of these reports on our website at Institute of Digital Dentistry, which I highly recommend anyone who wants more information, go check it out. It's all for free. But what I would say is these days, from my testing, for a simple case like a crown, which is the most commonly scanned indication on the globe, single crown. And for most dentate indications, most scanners work. And this can sound crazy because there's $2,000 scanner and $30,000 scanner. But in my experience, most of them are accurate enough now. The Chinese products have caught up. But where there's a big deviation now is soft tissue scanning, full arch implant scanning, software. Some software is very bad. You don't even have patient management, like saving cases properly. And I think AI is also a part of that. And AI is a big buzzword. But for scanners, what that means is when I'm scanning and I point the scanner at the cheek, it should ignore that. It shouldn't pick it up. The AI should filter the scan and stitch the scan properly. So what I would ask myself is simple. Look, just like in every market, there is a stratification of prices, just like vehicles. You know, like a Toyota and a Lamborghini will both take you to A to B. Okay, but they have differences, brand, features, etc. Same thing with a scanner. I think how you look at the market is, what is your budget once again? Your audience may be all around the world, just like our audience at IDD. And so someone in America doesn't have the same economic power as someone in maybe Brazil or Middle East, where I'm from, or Africa. So the budget scanners, I think, have their place in this market, because if everyone can digitize, I think that's better for the entire dental population. If I can afford something such as 10,000, 15,000, I would suggest that is a good starting point, because that opens you to a number of good scanners. I think the other thing you need to think about is a lot of scanners now are differentiating in different ways. Like photogrammetry is a big topic. Chairside CAD-CAM is a big topic. AI for diagnostic is a big topic. And because scanners are all very similar now, these companies are differentiating in different ways. For example, if you do a lot of full arch implants, I think the Shining 3D ARL Scan Elite should be a scanner you look into. If you want to do a lot of diagnostics with AI and just have a scanner that does basically everything, Trios 6 obviously is the premium of the premium. Trios 5 is a very good all-rounder, again, premium. If you want to do a lot of edentulous scanning, but you're on a budget, one of my favorites is Allied Star. Very good performance. The software is not as good as Trios, but very good scanning performance for the price. If you want to do chairside CAD-CAM, I think it goes without saying, CEREC with a milling machine is one of the best milling combinations. If you want to do a lot of aligners and you want a software that is very multidisciplinary and you can do the best orthodontic simulations, and it has software for good wear diagnostics over time, iTero, again, you will pay a premium, but they have very nice software in that regard, etc., etc. Now, as a dentist, if you don't care about any of that, you just say, I just want a scanner, I don't care about the software, then you can pick up something as cheap as $6,000, $7,000 and you will be fine. Just know there's a reason why there's a scanner that is $7,000 and one that is $30,000. If you just compare scanning alone, they may compete, but there's a whole ecosystem around it. So you have to compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges.
Yeah, so I think that comes to the topic, and it's something that we were repeating many times, is why you are buying intraoral scanner, what you want to do. And we have a lecture that we talk about this, is how to select the right scanner for yourself, because the answer is not the same for everyone. It's depending in your stage, the type of case that you do, your budget, your location, because there's another restrictions, because not all the brands are all around the world. Not all the models of the brands are around the world. So you need to see to understand what is available in your market. What about the support? What about the training? And there's also a topic that is those extra fees, that extra price that you need to pay, that monthly payment, you need to pay annual, you don't need to pay anything. You have already an intraoral scanner, so you are looking for a second one. So you need to answer a bunch of questions that will help you to decide what is the best scanner for yourself. And I like, or we like to divide the scanners like in two big moments, as we discuss pre-case acceptance and post-case acceptance scanners. Pre-case acceptance are scanners that need to focus more in gather the information as best as possible, but needs to be scanners that can help you to also educate your patient. It's going to help you to create images that the patient can see, they can understand better, so they can move to the next step, and also a scanner that will help you diagnose. Scanner that can help you to see better, to see different things, so you can be more accurate with your decisions. And something that I saw in this idea was very interesting because, from my point of view, the best scanner for the first appointment was the iTero. For me, was a scanner that was made for that, basically. It's a perfect scanner. The images, easy to use, plug and play, great because we talk also about this. We need to also find the way that our team will help us to do the daily stuff. So the staff should be the one doing the scanners, for example, in the first appointment. So it's something that they just turn on, go there, scan, and they can deliver. And for the post-case acceptance, then we open a different umbrella. What do you want? Is restorative, is implants, is full mouth. And for example, from my point of view, before IDS, Trios was one of the top scanners for restorative. If you are thinking chairside, CEREC, of course, one. I'm not saying that the other ones are not better. I'm just saying in general that everything works for everything, but there are someone that have some extra advantages. But it was very interesting to see in these IDS that, for example, iTero, they move into the post-case acceptance phase. So they improve everything related to the clinical execution. And Trios did exactly the opposite. They move in the pre-case acceptance. So they fill the gap that they had. So in the past, for me, was very easy to say, first appointment, pre-case acceptance is your first scanner, you need to go for iTero. Because it's clear, you need to convince more patients, you need to diagnose better, convince them, educate them, then you want to make more money, then you can buy whatever. But now the Tri-Shape is, the Trio is playing a huge role. I didn't try it, I just saw what they just released in IDS, and it's exactly that. They have these new 3 lights that help you with AI to diagnose the wear, the recessions, the gum and everything, the decays. So now is the market getting more and more competitive. That is awesome for us as a client, as a dentist. There are different options. And then, as you mentioned, there are other scanners that then these extra fancy things are not necessary. So you have a first appointment, let's say the premium scanner. Your second scanner can be something a little bit more low profile, where do you want just get your preps, you want to scan, send to your lab, and their lab is going to do the whole magic. But if you're thinking in one-day dentistry, for example, then you need to have something that will help you also to design. So I think there are a bunch of topics that will help you to take that decision. So if we can summarize what you consider are the 5 questions that you need to ask to yourself before you go for your scanner.
I would say number 1 is, do I want to do any form of in-house manufacturing? That is number 1, because that helps you differentiate a lot of different scanners. Number 2, and this is a big one, is what is my budget? Are you in the 5 to 10,000, 10 to 15,000, 15 to 20,000? Because this is the easiest way to differentiate the scanners at the moment. Number 3 is, do you do a lot of edentulous scanning? Are you a clinical dental technician? Are you a prosthodontist that does a lot of dentures? Or are your clientele very rich people that seldom have edentulous ridges? Because edentulous scanning, I think, is dominated by 3 or 4 scanners. The rest don't do so well. Number 4 is full arch, related to edentulous scanning. Do you restore a lot of full arch implants? Because now we are getting these products with photogrammetry inbuilt in them. There was a few interesting products at IDS by Doff. They're releasing a scanner with photogrammetry in the camera. And also, of course, Shiny 3D Elite has the intraoral photogrammetry. And number 5, I would say, is how important to you is all these extra features, like Luken says, the AI diagnostics, the orthodontic simulators, the smile design simulators, because if these are not interesting or valuable to you at all, then I don't really recommend you need to buy the very high-end scanners. If you just want a low-cost device that is scanned and sent to the lab, they exist in the market right now.
Yes, and I think this is to make it easier is that you're struggling in the execution, or you are looking for something to be more precise, more accurate in the execution, or you want something that helps you to convince and sales more. I think it can be a simple way as a starting point. If you want something that works for both, then you need to find that in between. No, it's not going to be the best in one thing or the other. It's just going to be in between. So what you consider is the ideal world?
Yeah, look, I can tell you what I consider my favorite scanners. And out of all the different scanners I have, the ones I reach for most often, I do a lot of same-day dentistry, so I use CEREC a lot. And I think it's what you related to, Luken, is the execution. It's not because CEREC Prime Scan is the most accurate. It's because the workflow with the design software and the milling machine and the AI is amazing. Obviously, as well, Trios is a top scanner. iTero, these are all top scanners. I think Trios, what you said is very interesting, how they switch roles is so true. I didn't think of it like that. The Trios 6 now has diagnostics and really pushes the communication side of things. So this is quite fascinating. I think as well, Medit was very popular globally as an economic option. And I think it's still in my own testing, it's one of the most accurate scanners on the market. And I think, look, as an economy option or a budget option, I think Allied Star, for the cost, you get very good performance. And then if you want even more budget than that, I think, there's Runes, there's Helios. I will say in my own testing, these very, very cheap scanners, guys, are $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 scanners. In dentate cases, they're fine, but I don't know if I would trust it for anything complex like full arch scanning. I just, in my own testing, because I hope to get a literature published soon, I actually spent too much time scanning with every single scanner in my practice, a scientific method, to test the accuracy of them on a full arch implant case. And I can tell you there's clear discrepancy between the different scanners. So they're not all created equal. I think it depends on how complex the dentistry you're doing. If you're doing basic dentistry, I think a basic scanner will work for you. But the more complex your dentistry, I think you just have to invest a little bit more.
So, and what do you consider is a good starting point?
I think, look, as the cheapest good starting point, I think you're in the $8,000 to $9,000 category. I think $8,000 is a good starting point on, I would say, on the scanner performance. I know 8,000 is significant for a lot of people in Latam or around the world, but I think I see that as the starting point where the performance is acceptable across a range of indications. And I think at that price range, you're looking at something like Allied Star, something like Medit is i600 is getting under 10,000. And then from there, if you're going higher and higher, you can get something like Trios 3 Classic. If you go higher than that, then you start looking at things like Shining. ARL Scan 3 is okay. The other thing you need to think about, the older scanners, the user ability is fine, but some of these older scanners, they have pods, they have multiple connections. The new scanners, it's just one connection and that's it. And so there's some user friendliness there. I think the middle ground is something like i700, Dexis. This is the middle ground. And then you have the premium, which is Trios 5, Trios 6, Shining, Elite, iTero, Dentsply Sirona, and I feel like this is how the market's divided.
Yes, I think divided is basically in three. As you mentioned, you have the Trios 5, 6, let's say it. You have the Sirona, the strike is chair side is the reference. We have the Shining. I think that Shining did a big improvement. They moved from the middle to the top.
Yeah.
For me, Shining was there like a Merit. Shining was like the second layer, the second group. I think Shining is coming very, very strong. And I think that Lumina is also the Terra Lumina is in this initial top group. My second group, I consider that yes, definitely the Allied Star is there, the Merit is there, and the Shining, that is not the new one, is also there. In my point of view, of course, I have the knowledge and the practice that you have, so I consider with that is a good starting point. But then there are more questions that they need to also ask to the reps, and I hear that, for example, the Trios 5, there was not complete FDA approved in America, or some of the technologies that they have. So imagine they are promoting something. It's like the new thing. Imagine that is the diagnostic piece. They are coming, is the trend, and you go there, you buy your scanner, and suddenly you just realize that it's not available in your country. So there are some extra things that you need to talk about, and it's not only the scanner, because that is something that also affect me. For example, in the iPhones, I was almost ready to buy the new iPhone, the 16, and because all the AI and all thing, but it was only available in North America. And they say we're going to release this in February, and they didn't release that. So I said I'm not going to buy the new phone because the big thing is not available. Because I just research a little bit more. If not, I will buy it, and then you're gonna say it's exactly the same like the previous one. So I think that we need to also try to read in between lines, ask to the right people, and also you need to understand your situation and where you are. I don't know, for example, in Latin America, we're talking here about the Lumina, the Terra Lumina, and they're still there in the element 2, not even the 5D. So, and you need to understand what is available there, and then you need to find the best solution. But there's also a hidden piece that is those extra fees. You need to pay for licenses, you need to pay for software, and you need to have a monthly fee or by exports or an annual fee. What is your opinion and your advice related to that?
Yeah, I agree. And I think about the Trios, the thing that was not available was the caries detection. So the scanner still worked, but
Correct.
they advertise it with caries detection, but some regions don't have caries detection, some do. I agree. You need to really understand what's going on. You need to be able to cut through the marketing and really understand the market. And if you don't understand, just reach out to colleagues who will help you, myself, Luken, etc. I think with the yearly fees, this is something mainly in the premium segment of the market. And to be honest, yearly fees, 90% of scanners don't have yearly fees at the moment because they try to be very aggressive with price and enter the market. So the yearly fees thing, it's mainly iTero and maybe the new DS Core Cloud has yearly fees. So a lot of the yearly fees now are not really related to the scanner, except iTero still has it, but it's more related to the cloud. This is the new subscription of the future. But most of the scanners these days have no yearly fees. Most of the Chinese scanners, they act very aggressively. There's no subscription fees. There's no yearly fees. There's no cloud storage fees. But the fees you need to be aware of is things like the scanning tips, which honestly are not much. You don't need to worry about that too much. I think the more important thing that you ask your representative is about training, because when you start scanning, especially if you're new, you need training, don't expect that you're just going to understand everything and plug in the scan and everything's going to be fine. You need to understand how to work the software, how to set it up, how to train your team, how to autoclave the tips so they last a long time, how to set up a software for a scan of implants or a crown or a veneer case or dentures. These are the important things to ask your representative. The other thing is to ask about, in terms of long-term support. We talked about this in one of the previous episodes. If something happens, what is the support? If the scanner drops and breaks, which trust me will happen to you in your career, everyone breaks a scanner. What is the process there? Do I have to buy a new scanner? Is it, part of a service package where I pay a monthly fee and there's a free replacement? These are all things to understand. Most importantly is how it's going to incorporate in your practice. What is the laptop you need? How do I set this up? Who's going to train my team? Because the better you get trained, the more likely you're going to incorporate this in your day-to-day practice.
And also taking advantage that you have experience with many different brands, the learning curve is completely different. If you're an expert in a tree shape, it's completely different than the Alistar, for example, or the Itero. So it's like you need to relearn how to take advantage of it, because I think one of the common mistakes is that, no, I know how to use a scanner. I have one. Okay, what is the one that you have? Because the strategy is completely different. How to take advantage of it, even the workflow, the internal workflows to take advantage of it is completely different. And
I
education
think on that topic, sorry, Luken, I would say, to be honest, in my experience, and I agree, the scanning can be different, but I would say to those out there, someone who has a scanner, it's much easier to learn another one than someone who has no scanner to learn a new one. It's like riding a bicycle. Even if you haven't done it for 20 years, if you try again, you still have the muscle memory and you can learn how to do it. And I feel like scanners, the main difference between them, yes, the strategy is a bit different. It will feel different. Different scanners feel different when you scan. But in dentistry, intraoral scanning now is a core skill that every dentist needs to learn. And once you learn that skill, I think you can use any product. Yes, you need some time to train. What is the new software? But frankly, I believe it's like Samsung and Apple. If you know how to use a smartphone, you know how to use a smartphone. Even though the user interface is different, the buttons are different, you still know, your intuition knows how to use this device. It's not the first time. And so I think with scanning, once you learn it the first time, that is the hardest learning curve. And then it's just easier from there.
Yes, and it's like that. When you know the basic, then they just need to adapt a little bit to customize to each one of the brands. So the big step is the first one when you are starting from scratch. And also you need to understand that the workflows are different depending on what you want. It's not the same with a diagnostic design than a full edentulous, than a restorative case that you need to see, or you have a close contact points and you want to see very clear where the contact points are, or when you have some full mouth preparation over crown that is a little bit different. When it's over implants, you need to understand what is that workflow. So definitely there's a learning curve, and it's exactly in the analog. In the diagnostic design, you just take a tray, you put an alginate, it works. When you are taking a full mouth, you have a different protocol. You need to be more careful. You need to know how to place the core, when to remove the core, when to bring it here, how to keep it dry, how to scan, how to keep the contact in the right way, how to take the right occlusion. So there are topics, and I think that sounds a little bit complex, and it's because we are in our comfort zone, and we try to get back to what we learned. Imagine you have 20, 30 years doing the same, and then you are bringing a machine that, by the way, I need to pay 10, 20,000, and then I need to learn how to use it. And I think that we need to bring back the topic of the mindset. When you see the potential, and that is not only to get the right information, is also about as a marketing tool that you can use to explain to your patient the treatments, that you can use to bring more patients to your practice, that is going to reduce your chair time, is going to help you to have a return on investment more fast or faster, and also will help you to be more predictable with less stress. So when you think in that way, then I think like, okay, now I'm interested in the scanner. So let me know a little bit more. And I think that one of the big mistakes there is that even the companies, they don't even know how to really take advantage of their equipment. They don't even know how to talk to the clinicians. They are bringing topics that are not relevant. As we talked at the beginning, is the size, is the speed, is the accuracy. So it's like, guys, do you really research about the industry, what they are looking for? Do you know how to talk to them? And and I think that we are more and more in there. I think that it's not a mainstream yet, but I think, as you mentioned, in the US, I think we are around 50 or 60% of use, but it's US that is one of the top markets, maybe Australia or New Zealand, I don't know. But if you go to Latin America or Europe, that number reduced drastically. So it's still being a differential factor. So you have an intraoral scanner, you are very unique with the device that you have. And you need to learn how to tell the story of your patient. That your patient, you are very lucky because I'm doing this, because it's better for you, because I'm going to be more precise, because the treatment is going to be in less time. You can do one-day dentistry because you have an intraoral scanner. If not, that should be impossible. So when we change our mindset and we really understand the real value, that is much more than just the impression, is when it's like obvious and it's clear that it's mandatory nowadays to have a scanner, and not only one. If you have more than 3 dental chairs, you need another one, because it's impossible to keep working. So I think that many people are asking for, what is the next step? I already have my first scanner, so in what should I look for in my second scanner? And it's what we discuss. If you have the one for the good diagnosis, then you need to find the second one that is the precise one and related to what you are going to do. If you want to do Invisalign, you have only one option. You need to do Vritero. If you're using Spark, there's no issue. So you can buy another scanner that works with them. If you go to restorative, then you want to go chairside, or you want to go with outsourcing. If you are doing outsourcing, you need to talk with your lab. What is the scanner that they prefer? What software they are using? What is the best communication that they have? If you want to go chairside, is what software you want to use. You want to do a complete closed system like CEREC, where you have everything, or you want to create your clone. You want to use this brand from the scanner, this brand from the milling machine, and that software. And then you need to learn how to connect all those dots. So I think we are 100% agree on the topic of the scanners. But from your practice, I want to hear, what is that thing that your team struggles more with intraoral scanner? What is that tip
I think
that you can give to someone, like, my team always, and this is how I solve it?
I think the most common thing I see that people struggle with scanners is just poor soft tissue retraction. That's the best piece of advice. A scanner is just a camera. It's basically like a video camera. It shoots light, it reflects off the soft tissues and teeth and everything, and it captures that data. And one thing I commonly see with people that don't scan so well is just very poor technique with soft tissue retraction. The reason why at these dental booths, when you scan the model, it's very fast, is because not the model is a model, is that because there's no soft tissue, there's no saliva, there's none of these things in the mouth. And so if you just control these things before you pick up the scanner and start scanning, it is as simple as scanning on a model. I can scan with basically any scanner full arch within 30 to 40 seconds, just because I have the technique, I have the muscle memory. I've done it thousands of times. And for you, I think, let's say you're doing a crown preparation. Before you pick up the scanner and start scanning, look at your crown preparation. Are the margins visible? Is there bleeding? Is there crevicular fluid? Is it dry? If it's bleeding and the gingival margin is seeping, don't pick up the scanner. It's useless. You're wasting your time. The scanner can't see through blood. It can't see through gingiva. Retraction cord, retraction paste, laser, anything. Just control the site that you are trying to scan, and then scan it and you'll be fine. Cheek retraction, tongue retraction, all these things have to be controlled, and then you will find a scanner is very fast.
Perfect. Great topic, Ahmad. And I think that there's no discussions in this topic. I think that nowadays very straightforward with the content, and definitely is the way to go. You were mentioning in one of the other episodes that you consider one of the first steps that people that want to implement digital dentistry is the scanner. So if you are listening to us, I think you have a perfect guide about how to select the right scanner for yourself. And remember, don't think only on you. You need to think with the big picture. You need to think at the quarterback, because you are not only the one that's going to use this device, it's the whole team, it's your staff, it's your business. So you need to connect all the dots to really take advantage of this. If you want to, if you have more questions, please don't hesitate to reach Dr. Ahmad or send a message to me. And if we don't have the answers, I'm sure that we have contacts. We know the right people that can help us, but I'm sure that basically everything is out there and we have the answers basically for whatever you need. So Ahmad, thanks a lot for your time, for this great interesting session and your lovely background. I really want to be there in your studio because it looks awesome. It looks like you have like a green background. It looks like a digital AI design, so the perfect lining, the sculpture
No, it's a real chair.
yeah, this is everything exactly in the perfect place to make it looks amazing. So thank you, Ahmad, for your time. We spent a great time here talking about this great topic. So let's keep in touch. Let's keep building some projects together. I hope that next time we can do something in person together in anywhere in the world. So Ahmad, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for the people that are listening to us, thank you for your time. And leave us your comments and leave us some topics that you consider that we can explore more. And don't forget, be the quarterback is a responsibility, and the business is completely related to that. It's that person that have the big picture, that understand how to really take advantage to really benefit the whole team, the whole company. And that's why we create this show. And this is why we have great people with a lot of knowledge, with real practice, no BS content that they are repeating because they have the knowledge, they did it. And this is what we want to bring here. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Ahmad, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Luken. See you guys.